Filming in the low light, especially with action cameras, can be really challenging. And in today's episode, I will give you some tips and tricks how you can improve your experience and boost your video from this to this quality, or even this. Only in 5 minutes you will know how to master your low light experience with DJI Action 5 Pro and other action cameras, so stay tuned. Super night mode is the most obvious choice, especially if you film in the low light. But the thing is, the DJI Action 5 Pro has a large aperture, which is 2.8. It means that the camera itself cannot perceive so many light as we would like to, especially in the low light condition. So we need to play with exposure value and ISO. But we know that if we put the exposure value on a high level or ISO on high level, it means that we will get too many noise and the image will not look like what we expect. That's why we need to play with some other configuration. So my very first suggestion, when you film in the low light, try not to move. Stand still. So this is the example. Now I'm standing still and just filming in front of me using the super night mode. And let me show you what will happen when I start moving. As you can see, the image starts falling apart, especially on the edges. So the next thing, speaking about the edges, I would highly recommend never set the camera in the ultra wide or mega view. Just try to keep it on a standard, the warp. In this case, you will eliminate all the dark blurring on the edges of your footage and you'll focus exactly what is in the center. That's why, if you film in the low light, try to use standard the warp mode, try not to move, and you might achieve some really good quality. I'm filming now still 25 minutes before the sunrise. It's really cloudy today, so I don't expect any light in the next 1 hour or so. But as you can see, once I just stop moving, the image quality is definitely improved. When you film in the standard video mode, not in the super night, this mode is not dedicated for the low light conditions at all. First of all, the ISO is set to the lowest value, and also the exposure value is not adjusted at all. I would recommend to go and set the exposure value to plus 0.3. This will give you a chance slightly elevate the exposure, and also you can play with ISO. By default, the ISO will be set from 100 to 800, but in the low light you can play with ISO set from 100 to 1600. This will not harm your video in a big way, but at the same time it might give you some boost and improvements. Now I'm filming in the regular video mode. This is not a super night, and this is the adjustment that I just told you. I set the exposure value to 0.3 plus 0.3 and also ISO from 100 to 1600. If you stay on one place and not moving, the video quality might be really good. Let me show you when I film in front of me without moving the camera. We can see a lot of details. But when you start moving, in this case, the details might be lost, and as I said, especially on the edges. And this would be the most cinematic way to use action cameras in the low light. Now I'm using D-Lock mode 10-bit, and I'm filming using the exposure value set to 0.3 and ISO from 100 to 1600. And when you film cinematic scenes, it's best not to move the camera. Let me show you the differences. Now I'm start moving a little bit, my hands is shaking, and stabilization, instead of stabilize the video in a smooth way as we will expect, it actually creates the extra jittering. Also, when you film in the low light, I would highly recommend to film in the low FPS. So try to avoid 30 FPS even, and try to film in a cinematic 4K 24 FPS. That's what I'm doing now. The less FPS is set for camera. The more time the camera and sensor has to perceive the light and to process the light. That's why I would highly recommend to film at 24 FPS, especially in the low light. This is the example filming in front of me when a little bit walking, and now I'm standing and filming in D-Lock M 10-bit 4K 24 FPS with exposure value set to 0.3 and ISO 100 to 1600. Also, when you film in D-Lock M, I would highly recommend to adjust the textures and the noise reduction. So this is I'm filming in D-Lock M 10-bit in 4K 24 FPS, textures set to +1 and noise reduction set to -1. Here is how it looks like. Let me just switch my camera and I will show you the same route, how it will be looking like in a super night mode. This is the same scene that you have just seen 1 minute ago. Now I'm filming in the default super night mode without adjusting any configurations. Just let me know, guys, in the comments, where do you see more details and which mode do you like more, to film in the super night mode or film in D-Lock with the proper video configurations. So this is the scene while standing upon the water. Now I'm filming in a super night mode without any adjustment. It is 4K 30 FPS. And the scene looked like this. Let me now switch to D-Log. So now I'm filming in 4K 24 FPS, D-Log M 10-bit, with texture set to +1 and noise reduction set to -1. What do you think, guys? Where do you see more natural details, less cartoony view? And which of the scene would you prefer for your video? Using action cameras in the low light, no doubt, can be challenging, especially if you want to film the cinematic scenes. But if you pick the correct stage, the proper scene with good color and with the proper video adjustment settings, in this case, you can achieve exactly what you want. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye. Cheers.